apart from that, there we go. So welcome everybody. My name is Sandra Grant and I have the honor of presenting my guest today, Dionnie Simone, who is a fellow co-author of Your True Power, The Key to Your Amazing Life, and also a fellow life transformed coach, having done the training with Rika Zimmerman. So welcome Dionnie, welcome everyone who's watching. And I'd like to introduce Dionnie with a few words. She is a yoga and meditation teacher and a consciousness facilitator. Apart from that, she's very creative and does her own poetry, writing, and artwork. And she's a friend of mine. I first met her in 2016. And we have been sharing this journey together in more ways than one. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I have noticed so much, having seen the before and after, is just how much she has grown and blossomed and transformed. And I have to share a memory I have of you when we were in Maui and we were waiting to go whale watching or something, and you were just idly hanging on a tree, and I was like, not only are you physically powerful, but I could also see the power in you that you at that time didn't recognize. So welcome. It's lovely to have you here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's a pleasure to talk to you at any time.
And we warn everyone that we're going to laugh a lot because that's what we do.
Yes. But we know that that is bringing our spirit out. It's bringing unity with everything. It's releasing everything negative. So there will be a lot of laughter, and it's good.
Yes. So the reason we have Dionnie here is, apart from getting her to laugh, is she is a compassionate teacher and healer who empowers others to move from fear to love and to take back creative control of their life. And she's done it. I've seen it in action. I've witnessed the change. I've read her story. And if you haven't read it, please buy the book, Your True Power, The Key to Your Amazing Life. It's currently $1 and the money goes to charity, and there are bonuses and raffles. So Dionnie, what would you like to add to your introduction?
Okay, I have 4 children, and they're not toddlers anymore, so that is great. Apart from that, I have a beautiful partner, Sash, and 3 fur babies. I live in Melbourne, and I live halfway between the beach and the shops, and we've just moved a month ago, and we love it, and we're just adding things and subtracting things from the house. And basically, I just love my life. I love living my life, and I just want to inspire others to, you know, abandon what's not working and really move on, and without hanging on to that heavy weight and baggage, and just move forward in joy and laughter.
Yeah. Fabulous. And I know from personal experience that you have the ability to do that. And you lead by example because you're a shining light. So that's great. So the title of today is Living in My True Power. So what is true power to you?
I think true power is being all of yourself, really. It's embracing all the parts of you. It's knowing yourself fully. It's awareness, basically, in the now. And once you have that and you're able to start consciously choosing for your best life, then that's when you're operating in your true power.
Great answer. And so how does living in your true power look to you? Like, what's your day to day? How is it different, for example?
Well, it's very different, I suppose, to a lot of the rest of the world, except during COVID, it was quite similar. I was having some nice sleep-ins there. I was getting up and walking along the beach or taking the puppies for a walk. We got 2 new puppies during COVID and a cat, just a little kitten before that. And so it was just spending time with them. It was being in the flow. It was working and doing things that I enjoy rather than what I'm forced to do or what I believe I have to because I've got training in a certain field. I therefore must, bust my guts for the rest of my life in that, in that field. My identity is tied to my job. No, there's none of that. It's just reinventing myself if I want to, if I'd like to, every day and just going with the flow. It's getting up and doing yoga. It's recording something. It's writing something. It's just doing whatever I feel like doing, really. Walking down for a coffee and chatting with so many people. It's such a long process just to go get a coffee because my mouth goes. And my partner's mouth goes, and we just attract people. Dogs and people just flock to us. So there's never just a neighbors over the fence. It's basically just living in the flow. It's remaining conscious and aware and awake to the now, which is the most important thing. Like if we wake up, we're not dwelling on anything that happened yesterday. We're all ready to start a new page, start afresh, and not hang on to any baggage that just weighs you down. So living in my true power and what that looks like every day is just a joy. It's just embracing the fact that we're here in 3D. We're able to tap into everything around us. And I get messages. Sometimes it says, you need to go into that store. And I'm like, okay, so why? And then you go in there and there's a cute dog that's injured or something, and it wanted your attention. Or there's a painting once. I walked in and a lady said, what are you doing in here? I said, I don't know. I look like the biggest idiot. I don't know what I'm doing in here, but you have some lovely pictures on the wall. And she's like, okay. And I was opening up a yoga studio. And there was a beautiful picture as I walked around. I saw nothing. And she goes, you really don't know what you're after? I'm like, no, but it will be here. I know it will be here. Just wait for it to appear before me. And then there was a beautiful, colourful print with just a lovely saying on it about, minding your mind and being in your spirit. And I'm like, oh, that's why I came in here. And then I got to take that home rolled up, and that was awesome. But I wouldn't have walked in there otherwise. So I'm always aware is the main thing for my life. I'm always present. If there's a disaster or a problem, I'm calm. I have all the time in the world. I'm just so present. I think that's really helpful. Yeah.
And I can definitely relate to walking into a store and looking around and someone says, and so what are you after? And I said, oh, what are you looking for? Inspiration. Look at me. And it's like, I'm the same. It's like, well, I'm not sure why I'm here, but I'll find out. And in the same way, you can sort of get to the door of a store and sort of sense whether you need to go in there. It's like, no, I don't need to go there.
Yeah, you're not wasting your time, but yet you have so much time on your hands because you're just so focused and so present. So you're not wasting your time doing something because you're not inspired to do that. Where if you're living in this inspired space that we are, that is available to everybody, then you're just so driven and you're so happy and you're so light. And that's, what more could you ask for? You're skipping through life. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. And the reference to light is part of your chapter title as well, the lightness of being, I believe. So it's you're walking your talk and you're talking your walk, if you like.
Yeah, I definitely am, because I chose that title. I could have called it 100 different things, of course, because I had 100 different titles. And then I ended up with that one because for a long time, and in parts of my childhood as well, even though I was very connected and could read all the vibes and everybody's, you know, patterns back then and choose what I wanted and didn't want to be a part of, I felt very heavy. So just the lightness of being reflected, just draining out all the muck, basically letting it all go, and that's just, and you know, leaving the anxiety, leaving the depression behind, leaving all those things that really are like a heavy baggage on you. And you know what it's like if you haven't even gone through a process of awakening or whatever, you know that you just feel so heavy and like you know, trudging around in thick mud when you're bogged down with a problem. And so you literally you're absorbing that density. And so I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, even though from the outside it looked like I had nothing to worry about. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I had neglected all parts of myself except my physical fitness. I always kept that up, thankfully. But everything else felt like a weight and a burden. And it was the way I was looking at it. It was the way I had programmed myself. But literally stepping up and stepping out into that freedom of the lightness of just being that new being that I was, I completely recreated myself into a light being, and that was the most amazing thing among many other amazing things.
Yeah, I love that idea of a light being. I always think of a lighthouse, that you're shining your light out there.
Yeah.
And whereas before, as you said, the analogy of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Yes.
And particularly when we're tuned in, sensitive sort of people, we pick up on what we're very aware of, what other people are thinking and feeling, and sometimes we mistakenly think that that's part of us.
I know you're very good at that, and you've learned over the years to not hang on to that as well. So yeah, I'm sure people can really identify with that. Anyone listening, yes.
And so getting back to you, because it's my interview of you. Is there any other ways that your life has been enhanced in having found your true power?
Oh, definitely. Every aspect of my life, from my health. So there's, you know, quite a few limbs here that have, you know, really altered my health, my personal wealth, my happiness, my connection with source, with all that is, my levels of love, compassion, intuition, understanding, my connection with another. Just going from feeling sick and tired all the time to feeling lighter and not having chest infection after chest infection. Everything in my chest. I thought I had asthma. I thought I had dementia. My mind was so fogged. And then eventually I had severe depression. And all of those things have completely gone. During COVID, I did have one bad thought, but it wasn't enough to, you know, hold me down. But I think everybody kind of went there during COVID going, let me out. Because my whole thing was about being caged, being held back and being caged in. So to feel like that creeping over me again was like, no, go away. I'm just going to get out and get into nature and get back connected, so that I don't think that everything in the world is bad. But I realized I was picking up on the vibe of everybody around me. So I had to let that go. Yeah. But it's enhanced, as I said, like the abundance, the 360 degrees of abundance in my life. It's enhanced everything. I wake up feeling fantastic. I wake up happy. I wake up grateful, but not in a, you know, like, oh, I have to be grateful. But I just wake up so happy with what is, really. I'm not really searching and striving and having to achieve something to prove something. I'm just very relaxed about it, which is great, because that was never me. I was stressed out the whole time, so much that I was in panic attacks and couldn't breathe. So it's just such a difference, really. You'd see that.
Definitely. This is the girl that never smiled. Can you believe it?
I didn't smile. That's right. When I was younger, I didn't like my smile. I got told my laugh was horrible, so I kept quiet. But it did teach me to be a really good observer. So as long as you can recognize the good in everything, then you're doing well. I'm like the eternal optimist now. You know, if someone says something, I'm like, oh yeah, but at least we got to see what we don't like, you know. So there's always two sides to everything, and there's, you know, not good or bad. There's just the learning lesson involved and what you do with it from there. So now I'm chilled.
Well, even in the time that I've known you, you always looked very serious, sort of deep, you know, lost in your own thoughts or world, or something like that. And a little bit detached, I guess, from other people. So, you know, there's no holding you back now with the joy and the laughter, which is so inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, I always held back because of that fear of being judged. The self-judgment was probably the worst. And that that lack of self-belief, that lack of, well, you know, what could a housewife have to offer? You know, why should I go do this coaching and training course? Why am I having a vision of me speaking to thousands of people in an auditorium and they're all clapping and they're all wanting to listen to what I have to say? That still hasn't happened yet, but that's coming. But why am I having that vision when I'm just a housewife in Melbourne, you know? And I was like, you know what, that is possible. So when I started doing the course, I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen. That is possible. So, you know, anything's possible. We know that.
My favorite saying, infinite possibilities.
That is your favorite saying. And we all love that one, because before we were trapped with only, you know, one or two answers or things that were being offered to us, because we weren't aware of all the others, because we didn't allow ourselves to be open to it. We had, you know, I was so narrow-minded in the fact that I was operating on the automatic. And then there became this whole plethora of stuff that I could do. I'm like, yeah, I want that. I want that. I'll choose that and I'll go there and yeah, whatever. Much better.
Yes, I love that. And tell me, how can you help others to be in their true power? You've obviously got it sorted out for yourself.
Well, that was one thing, like my greatest fear in life is not to achieve my potential. If I were just sharing that quietly, not. So I used to think that I had something to prove. And if I didn't get to prove it and I, you know, died with that song in my heart, that my life would be a waste of time. And then as I awakened further, I thought, actually, there's no one I have to teach or wake up, or there's nothing I have to do. But then it became more of a, well, I've learned and I'm embodying all that knowledge and I am walking my talk. So I thought, well, I didn't think, it just happened. You know, I have to share that. I can't keep it to myself. It's like a sin to me to not share my joy, my laughter and my light and my knowings with everybody in whatever way that may manifest itself. It might be just through someone hearing me speak and just pick up one little pearl, or it might be through my yoga class and people just love that feeling of love and calm that I can generate in that room. It just hits them in the heart, you know. Yeah. So that is just so amazing to hear back. So it didn't become a burning ambition at the beginning. It just became something that you're drawn to do. Once you know what you know, you have to share it. So whatever form that takes, through a painting, through a poem, through a story, through our chapters, that might inspire others and give them hope and more than hope. You just get this knowing inside you that these people could do it. So can I. You know, it is inspiring, and you want to walk through that, your life being inspired. You want to look at things with awe and amazement, and it just drives you forward. It does. And so there's no real agenda. It's just, you have to share that. Once you know, you can't help it. There's something inside of you that just pushes you to share.
Yeah. And I've listened to some amazing meditations that you've done as well. So something that's accessible to anybody.
Yeah, on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I just put them out there because it was a way to get the words I had to say out, but it was also a way to respond to people who were asking me for things. So instead of just doing a whole lot of chats on the phone or whatever during COVID, it was easy to put it out there, and then people could just tune in at their own time. Like, I got asked, can you make another one about anxiety? I'm like, okay. You know, and then of course my partner going through a severe and, you know, traumatic experience in his life, losing half a limb, and then me having to really step up and put all my fears aside and just, wow, be there for someone else fully and completely, because they couldn't be there for themselves when they were medicated. They were, you know, dying before my eyes, you know. Yeah. And so to make something that as well, that was to help him, and then share that with other people as well, that one's a pretty good one, I must say.
The ones I've listened to are pretty powerful. So
thank you, lovely.
Yes. And would you like to share a link for that at all?
I can.
Yeah.
I will type it below. I will type that below once we post this, but it is my YouTube channel, Dionnie Simone Yoga and Meditation, and then we can give you a link to that. There's a couple of yoga classes you can create, and there's also all the meditations on there as well.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And so what haven't I asked you that you're burning to tell me? I'll tell the audience.
I think I've just about spilt a lot. What haven't you asked me? Maybe what's next? Because there's always a next. At the moment, we are starting a new business. So it's to do with dog products, and we haven't put our website up yet, but once that happens, I'll also put a link to that, because everyone got puppies during COVID.
They did.
Puppies and kittens, and we're not very like business minded, but we thought, hey, there's a bit of a niche there. I think we can venture into that. So we've been spending the last month or so accumulating all the things we need, and we're so excited. We pretty much hit on our logo, and it's all coming together. It's fun. It doesn't feel like work because it's creative. I get to use colors, which I love. I get to, create things with my partner. And we just get to do what we like, so it doesn't feel like work at all. And if it works, beautiful. If it doesn't, I'm sure we'll have another great idea.
Well, this is it. You're so creative. And if you can bring all those gifts together and make a difference, even if it's just walking down the street, you're making a difference when you're stopping and chatting to people and to the dogs and things like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I know, just going back to the book, I know that you have a bonus. Well, each of the authors have a bonus on there. And do you want to tell people about your bonus, or how they can get hold of it?
I'm not quite sure how they can get hold of it. They have to have bought the book and then gone back to the original page, I think, the yourtruepowerbook.com, and entered in their order number. And then I think they have to scan down and see our bonuses, and then find mine in particular, or whoever's, because they're all amazing. Yeah. And just contact us through that link there, and we send you, once you've entered in your order number, you're, you know, eligible, because we can see for $1, well, so cheap, you get the book, plus you get all of us, you know, giving you almost like a personal session, really. We're talking directly to you.
Yeah.
So the link is right there on that page, and we send that to you once you click on it.
Yes, so that's, just to clarify, that's $1 US. If you're in Australia, it's actually about $1.38. So you have to stretch the budget a little bit more. But,
Yes.
even my brother decided he could stretch his budget that far, so that was good.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but there are 14 bonuses, and there's
Yes.
also the opportunity to have a free entry into a raffle for $1,000, and that's US dollars.
Yep, that's good. That's when the conversion is nice.
Yeah, definitely. Now, so that we've talked about the book, we've talked about the raffle, the bonuses. So most of the bonuses are already available as soon as you buy the book. And there are a couple of people that are still scheduled to deliver their bonuses live. So if you get in quickly, you may be able to be part of that and actually chat with the authors online.
Yep.
But otherwise, Dionnie and myself have each done our bonus calls, and they're available for immediate download.
Yep.
So anything else, any parting words?
Okay. Yes.
Good. I knew it would be.
Okay, anyone listening, all right. You've got to stay in the now. You have to stay present. That's like the biggest message. Eckhart Tolle has been telling us that for a long time now. It is so true. That is the only moment you can create from. Yeah. You can't go back in time. You can change how you think about something and what happened to you, and you can let it go, but you can't go back and completely, you know, obliterate it, right? But it is done. It's over, and it's not real anymore. So get over yourself. Move on. Don't hang on to it because it was a trauma and a strain and it was hard for you and you identify with it so deeply. You have to let it go to feel lighter. You can't ascend the levels of awakening holding on to all that baggage. You just can't get there. There's no room for it going forwards. If you want to move into the massive awakening that's happening on the earth, you've got to let go of anything holding you down. And that is my biggest message. It may be difficult, it may be ugly, it may be sticky and icky, but you have to drop it. That's my main message, because when you try and perpetuate it and move it into the, you know, coming forwards with you, you're just recreating that misery. You really are. So do yourself the biggest favor and just let it go. Let the ego lose. Let your own sense of ego lose the argument if you have to, because it brings you so much joy and so much freedom moving forwards. And that is my biggest message.
Excellent. So for me, that translates as being choosing what you want to focus on, choosing to be in the now, and letting go of the past. Would that be how you see it?
And not projecting yourself into future anxieties as well. So yeah, they do say, whoever they are, the wise people, some of them are wise, that, you know, if you're living in the past, you know, you're going to suffer depression. And if you're wanting to, you know, change and jump into your future about, you know, some future event that's going to worry the bejesus out of you, then yes, you're going to feel anxious and you're not even living in the now. You've projected yourself into the future. So stay here, stay present. If you're having a shower, have a shower. If you're listening to this interview and you're listening to us sharing our wisdom, why are you trying to do 10 other things at once? You know, stay focused, stay disciplined. And it does require discipline because you've been scattered and shattered your whole life, right? Yep. You've been led to believe the big stories and the big way that things should be. But now you know better. You're here, you're listening, it's resonating with some part of you. It's connecting with you, even if you don't fully comprehend. Stay with what you're doing and stay focused and disciplined and aware. Massive, because you can only create from the now. You can choose consciously how you might want something to look in the future, but you can't dwell on the future because you're only living right now. You're real right now. Yeah. And you can create and be part of everything as you always are right now when you stay aware. And you can instantly manifest. Yes, that is the best thing ever because I did it for a whole week. I couldn't leave without saying that. Yes, magic is real. It is possible. You can think things, and if it's in your best interest, it will just arrive to you right there and then. Yeah. For me, I'm pretty good. I'm a masterful manifester, I call myself. You know, within 2 months, usually within 2 minutes or 20 seconds, I get what I want. But if you keep your vibe high, yeah, for me, 2 months. Yeah. And 3 days is the big number. Keep your vibe high for 3 days, not letting anything external affect your internal, and you will be flying high, naturally high.
Yeah. And just on that future projection thing, if you're aiming for one particular thing, that's closing off the infinite possibilities. So even if you have something that you think that you might want in the future, you say this or something better, then that opens it up to something even more amazing.
Yeah, because your mind is so limited, and the universe always over delivers. If you say, I want big, that's fine. It'll be huge when it arrives. So don't try and control everything. Just surrender it out, and whatever's coming to you is so much better than what you could ever plan on.
Excellent. Thank you. And just a reminder to anyone listening that if you want more inspiration and you'd like to read Dionnie's story, or in fact the 14 stories of transformation, true stories of ordinary women leading remarkable lives because we've transformed them so much, then the link is yourtruepowerbook.com. And for $1 US, you have access to all those inspirational, true transformational stories, the raffle, money going to charity, and the bonus offerings as well from each of the authors. So much free stuff for $1.38.
Well,
assuming the exchange rate hasn't changed recently.
Yes.
Yes, so but $1 US, and I don't have anything else to say other than thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Sandy.
And I love hearing your laugh, and it's a shame we don't live closer, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.